Jesus describes himself as the sower of the seed. And he himself explains that the seed is the Word of God. And this seed of the Word of God is, things that we get from the saints, examples of the saints, the grace we receive through prayer and the sacraments, and the seed is also the teaching of the successors of the apostles, bishops, and priests. So Jesus is constantly sowing the seed of the Word, of the grace, of the seed of holiness, of supernatural life in our souls. And so the question is, if He's so liberal, so good in giving us so many graces, how is it that we find it difficult to become better, or to allow the seed to develop in our souls? Well, there are many things that we could consider. Some people say that the seed of the Word of God does not produce any fruit in our souls because we have bad preachers or bad priests and bad bishops, and that could be true. But, that is not entirely the truth. Look at St. Paul. He describes in the epistle today all the things he went through because of the Word of God being rejected constantly by men and women. Who would be a better preacher than Christ himself? 3 years of preaching, and he converted only, about 60 people or 80 people. So at the end, when he was crucified, only 2 people or 3 worked with him. The rest, when the occasion came to deny him, they did deny him. So can we say that Jesus was not a good preacher? So you remember in the gospel when he goes back to his hometown, and then they said that, this beautiful doctrine was coming out of his mouth, and everyone was praising him. But at the end, they wanted to arrest him and throw him over the hill. So Jesus was certainly a good preacher. We have the example of St. Peter. First time he preaches, 3,000 people get converted. Second time he preaches, 5,000 people get converted. We have Jeremiah and Ezekiel in the Old Testament. They were complaining constantly that the people were not listening to them. And God tells Ezekiel, they are not going to listen to you because they will not listen to me. So the fault is not on the part of the preacher. Because the one in charge of sowing the seed is Christ himself in the person of the preacher, in the person of the priest. It is not my own ideas or, that come to my mind. It is the Word of God. So what has been handed on to us from the beginning of the world. You see? So it may not have anything to do with the qualities of the preaching or the preacher. So what is really the cause? Well, people say that priests sometimes have the tendency to exaggerate. See? And I am being constantly criticized for exaggerating. See? But I don't think that is true. See, I mean, if I preached, this solution, the enjoyment of all pleasures, or the freedom to all passions, I would be very popular. See? So why do people say that we exaggerate, or who is really exaggerating? Do you think that preaching about God's infinite justice, we would be able to exaggerate? Do you think, when was the last time you heard a priest preaching or exaggerating with regards to the sufferings of hell? I mean, I don't have an idea of how serious this is. I wish I had. So who exaggerates? Jesus says, if anyone loves his parents or his children more than me, they are not worthy of me. Unless you do penance, all will perish. Jesus says, if your left eye causes you to sin, take it out. It is better for you to go with one eye into heaven than with two into hell. St. Paul says, those who murmur, those who blaspheme, those who steal, fornicators, those who are dishonest, and then the list goes on, they will not inherit the kingdom of heaven. And I cannot even describe to you what he says about how women should dress in church. So who exaggerates? Priests or St. Paul, or any of the saints? So it is not on the part of the priest or the preacher or the bishop for us to find the cause for the seed not being fruitful in our hearts. It all depends, entirely depends, on the good disposition of those who listen to us. Nothing else. Now, the Word of God, or the preaching of the Word of God, has a very specific quality. That those that are good, if they are well disposed, they are going to become better. Those who are never well disposed or do evil, they become worse. And that is a very dangerous thing to say. That's how it is. That's how it is. See? So it all depends on the good dispositions, on the good qualities of the soul. We have the example of St. Anthony of Padua. He was preaching once to a great multitude of people, and they took his sermon so seriously that they were yelling at him to stop preaching. So some of them were striking their chests, saying, I'm not going to sin ever again. So many of them, if not all of them, were converted. And from that moment, they led a penitential life. So now you don't know how difficult it is for priests to cultivate or to promote a good disposition among people. The main enemy that we have, besides the devil, the flesh, or any other temptations, the main enemy for priests is self-love in people. So, what does self-love do? Well, it creates a judgment, an ability to judge everything according to our own whims. and desires. And we criticize everything. So no matter what the priest says, you know, I have my opinion, they say. So, now, the moment comes for every priest to say, well, I'm not going to deal with this kind of people anymore. Why am I going to waste my time? So, I mean, people in the church, in many parishes, say, well, Father, you are new here in the parish. We've been here since 1958, and you are not going to change anything. I mean, if you have been here since 1958, it should be better. Should be better. Better than me. So it is not necessarily the time or how old I am that makes the difference. The difference is made by the good dispositions of the heart. Now, how do we create this good disposition? Well, first of all, we know, I don't know if you are aware of what is the meaning of the word piety. Piety is nothing else than the contemplation of the disposition of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and making them our own. That's what piety is all about. First, and then secondly, doing our best to get rid of everything that does not correspond to our vocation in life. That's what piety does in every one of us. So basically that's what we need in most of the cases. So that's what St. James says, be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. So it would be important for us today to study in our own conscience. What are those things that impede or become or is an obstacle for the Word of God to produce fruits of holiness? And it could be simply bad habits, passions, desires, things that we haven't taken care of in our own spiritual life. So there is nothing in this world. God doesn't have any other desire than to help you grow in your Christian life. But He always finds an obstacle, and that obstacle is self-love or pridefulness, whatever you want to call it. So that is what Jesus says. If you love me, you will keep my word. And keeping His word means working, putting things in order, putting my thoughts in order, my desires in order, acquiring the dispositions of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, little by little, by piety, by devotion, by being faithful to our resolutions, to our daily duties, all of these things. So that is why St. Luke says, blessed are they who hear the word of God and keep it. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.